It comes to the media, every interview is the same. If they like you, they treat you like Biden. But if they don't like you, it kind of looks something like this.
We looked up some words that have been said about you.
Okay.
Crazy, Q clown, Looney Tune, unhinged, moron. Pretty ugly stuff.
Looks like the average troll in my Twitter feed, so I don't really care.
You're used to it.
So I don't let name calling bother me or offend me.
Oh, we looked up some words to describe you, Leslie, and can't read it. That was Marjorie Taylor Greene's big interview with 60 Minutes, and they had to edit the heck out of that thing to make it work. Watch this.
And things she says that are over the top, like the Democrats are a party of pedophiles.
I would definitely say so. They support grooming children.
They are not pedophiles. Why would you say that?
Democrats support, even Joe Biden, the president himself, supports children being sexualized and having transgender surgeries. Sexualizing children is what pedophiles do to children.
Wow. Okay.
I caught 5 edits in that sequence, 5 in 30 seconds. That's what they call in the business a hatchet job. But I guess this is what you'd expect from Leslie Stahl's, the only person we know who hasn't verified the laptop yet. But see, CBS doesn't like Marjorie Taylor Greene. The Washington establishment doesn't like Marjorie Taylor Greene. And why? Because they like politicians they can control. And if you can be controlled and you're a victim, the sky's the limit. Enter John Fetterman, the media's new golden boy. He also sat down with CBS this weekend. His first big interview since being released from Walter Reed for depression. And CBS wanted to talk about fashion.
He was becoming a rising political star and an unlikely darling of the fashion world.
What did GQ call you? They said you were a fashion god or something?
His wife of 15 years, Giselle.
American taste god. And then the New York Times, I found out that I was one of the most fashionable or something.
That's right. Along with Beyoncé and Brad Pitt, Fetterman was one of the paper's most stylish people of 2022.
It was an edgy, modern look.
It was appalling.
And then things got really sad.
In November, December, depression started gathering strength. Is that correct?
Very much, very much. I had stopped leaving my bed. I've stopped eating, dropping weight.
As it was described to me, you were agnostic about the question of living or not at that time.
Yeah, well, I never had any self-harm, but I was indifferent, though. If the doctor said, gee, you have 18 months to live, I'd be like, meh. Okay, well, that's how things go.
It's almost like his body was rejecting his Senate office like it was a bad organ. Now, most people would watch this interview and say, wow, this poor guy needs to take some time for himself. If he was struggling to eat a plate of food, how is he capable of serving in the Senate? But not CBS. They listened to Fetterman and thought, maybe this guy should be president someday.
Your trajectory from mayor to lieutenant governor, United States senator, was still pointing up. At 53 in politics, that's a young man. Can you have aspirations? Can you serve beyond the United States Senate?
You know, my aspiration is to take my son to the restaurant that we were supposed to go during his birthday, but couldn't because I had to check myself in for depression.
The guy just wants to get better and be there for his kids. But instead, Democrats are forcing him into office so they can push him around and get stuff done. It's wrong, and it's a little hard to watch. Kellyanne Conway is a Fox News contributor and former White House counselor. Really stark, the difference between those two interviews. What does that tell you, Kellyanne?
It does. And let me just say, mental health, depression, very serious issues, Jesse. I know we agree. This is a scourge in society. And I bet John Fetterman, it sounds like he might want to be an advocate for it, but that's not really what the Democrats want him to do. They need his vote to carry on their slim majority. And he came out the best in that one interview because he actually seems a little humble. He seems like he doesn't want to be in the United States Senate. If I were Fetty John, my advice to him would be leave everybody behind, everybody who used you to get there. The wife who's giggling and thinks she's some kind of fashion icon, very flip, can't let him do an interview by himself. The Democrats, certainly. And he could just say, I want to go heal myself. One last thing about this, juxtapose how angry, if not evil, all of them were if anybody dared question John Fetterman's health during the campaign, which is a legitimate issue in any campaign. People got pushed back. Dasha Burns from NBC was insulted. She was threatened and worse. Now they want John Fetterman to be on our couch. They want to have this whole national tour, national interview, sympathy tour. He seems uncomfortable. Look, there is a double standard in the media. We all know that. But Leslie Stahl lost credibility, should have lost her job. They just never do that in the media. Nobody ever loses their job for being egregiously wrong.
No, you get promoted if you screw up in the media.
You get promoted. Not a single person in the media lost his or her job after the 2016 election, where they all swore up and down Hillary couldn't lose, Trump couldn't win, it was a joke. If one person had been unemployed after that, Jesse, I'm sure they would have sharpened up. But they always fail upward. And by the way, I know how interested people are in each other's marriages in politics and media. So let me just tell all the youngins out there, look up Doonesbury. The guy who's done that for 52 years is named Gary Trudeau. That is the husband of, drumroll please, Jane Pauley. He's one of the most savage critics of Trump and all Republicans. So she's interviewing Fetterman. Leslie Stahl is interviewing MTG. And I think they're just trying to make MTG the face of the Republican Party, force her onto the short list for Donald Trump. They are so rude to people's faces by reading what people who don't wear pants that snap button or zipper anymore, never get fresh air, sit on Twitter all day insulting other people. That's supposed to be relevant to what used to be a flagship program like 60 Minutes. Johns Hopkins Medical says that those first 3 months after someone's stroke are critical to full recovery. And I feel like John Fetterman, they blew it for him, this poor man, by forcing him to campaign. He should have taken himself out. It doesn't seem like he was equipped to do that. Should have taken himself out, because when you lose that 3-month window and you don't get that intense therapy with a stroke apparently that severe, you don't get that window back. And people are saying, why is she supporting Fetterman? I'm supporting people who suffer from depression and mental health. 100 United States senators representing a country of 335 million people. Jesse, we can find somebody else in Pennsylvania to serve while this man heals himself.
Yeah, and the Pennsylvania voters deserve someone better. Thank you very much, Kellyanne Conway.